Hey everyone, welcome to Unique Ways with Thomas Gerard, an audio podcast. Got a super awesome guest today. She describes herself as creativity driven by passion, results driven by purpose. She's an accomplished creative with extensive experience in brand development and management, communications, and marketing. She has great creative abilities, extensive experience in building, refreshing, and supporting brands, and a talent for creating and leading outstanding and highly collaborative teams. Please join me in welcoming Carolina Becerra. Welcome.
Hi, Thomas. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for being on. Are you ready for your 20 questions?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Number one, tell me a little bit more about yourself. What do you do?
Well, as you mentioned in that really good introduction, I am a creative, and I've been doing this for since I graduated from Emily Carr. So I I am a designer, so I have done my whole career on branding. And as you get older and get more experience, a lot of strategy and building teams for companies. And also, after my tenure at Science World, anything that has to do with exhibit and spaces has been, a new avenue to display my creativity, and it's something I really love. Also, I'm an educator. I've been teaching design for over 20 years, and I have run a couple of pretty successful businesses. So I have like these three aspects to my career, which obviously is the creative part, the education, coaching, and the business.
Nice. And a note for our audience, we had Debbie Millman on, who's the chair of the Masters in Branding program at the School of Visual Arts. So if you like this branding thread, you should definitely check that one out as well. Uh,
Excellent. Oh, and Debbie, yeah, she's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Number two, what's a key piece of knowledge that makes you different?
I guess the key pieces of knowledge that make me different is that I have quite a bit of experience and knowledge in three very different aspects uh, of what I bring to the table. That of course, I'm a pretty good designer, but when I've been in management positions or leadership positions, I've had a lot of training in how to lead teams, how to build teams. And the other part that is something that has always been really interesting to me is the business part of design. So it's these three things that put me, makes, I think differentiates me from other people that might not have the experience in these three very different realms, but that are very, I've managed to put them together throughout my career. So I think it's very versatility that I can tackle things from very different angles.
We had a great guest on recently named Joel Hladicek, who's the worldwide creative officer at EF. And I worked with him in London, and he talks about leading teams and how different it is to use your own hand to craft something versus kind of trying to use another person's hand to craft that and trying to kind of tap into their hand, but also their mind in the way that you lead them.
Yeah, it's different. And when I've been in that position, I've always made sure that the people I'm working with, that they get to really excel at what they're doing, and let them do their jobs, let them do the explorations, figure out the solutions, but obviously with a very clear direction and coaching and help and mentoring when needed and if needed, right? Because there's incredibly talented people that I believe in letting people do their jobs, and and excel at their own thing. And when you're in a creative director position, you have to make sure that the job is going to get done in the direction that has been established. But yeah, it's really fascinating to be able to open other designers' minds to different ways of doing things, different processes, and then let them explore and explode with their own creativity and talent.
Yeah, and Joel also talks about in that role to just his mission is to get everything to be as highest um level of completion as possible. That's his goal. Number three, why this of all things? Why do you do what you do?
Why? When I was going through the questions last week, I think I do what I do because that's what I've always done. And when I say always, it's since I was a little kid. I think my first branding project was when I was 6 years old, that I branded crickets and I was selling them at school because I saw that, boys needed to, impress girls. I would just observe. And I decided that girls like crickets and boys needed to buy crickets from me. So I, made this beautiful box, and I would go and get crickets from the garden in my house, and then I would go and sell them to the boys, and then they would give them to the girls, and everybody was happy, not the teachers. I think I kind of got suspended for a day or so, and they were like, please do not bring crickets to school. And I started, so that was my first branding project, and also my first little business. And then when I was, I believe in grade 7, one of my teachers hired me during the summers to help her, to help with her summer school. So I was teaching or helping kids that maybe were not doing very well with math, and I was helping them. So this is, I believe I was grade 7. So these three aspects have been present in my life from a very early age. And I really didn't notice that until quite recently. That it's like, oh my God, I've been doing this forever since I was a little kid. So I think it comes natural to me. And I'm so grateful, really, that I was able to pursue um, my passion, that I didn't know it was my passion, but just have the opportunity to discover that this was my passion. So that's very fortunate, for sure.
Great. Number four, what does your future look like?
My future. Ah, well, I hope that I'm going to be doing a lot more experiential graphics. I'm really interested in space and how space affects our relationships and our cognitive powers, and our experience of life. So experiential design, that's where I'm really putting a lot of my efforts now to do a lot more of that. And I hope to still keep teaching, because it's something that I quite enjoy, and a lot more traveling. Before the pandemic, I traveled a lot, and now that's come to a halt. So I hope to be able to travel quite a bit more in the next few years.
Great. Number five, we say, is unique to this podcast. The question is, let's talk about location. How does the notion of place play into what you do?
I was thinking about that. Do you mean like geographical location with that one?
Yeah, some people think of it as geographical. Some people think, place like for example, during pandemic, we're trapped in an apartment. So how does that affect the idea of place? Some people think of place as a bigger idea. But yeah, the geographic location is a common thread.
So for location, I guess I can answer that in two ways. The first one is location being in Vancouver. When I came here from Mexico City, I went to Emily Carr, and being at the Arts and Design School on Granville Island was incredible, because that particular location was really conducive to creativity. And, on break, be able to go to the market and go to the, go to the, sit down by the ocean. And I believe that was pretty influential in how I approach my studies. And now, with the pandemic, from having an office to working from home, at the beginning, it was a shock to the, it was a massive shock to the system. But I've adapted quite well, and I'm actually really, really enjoying working from home again. And the fact that it has become normalized, that, it's not weird to say, oh, I don't have an office, I work from home. It's okay now. There's no, it's not like, oh, you're not doing very well, so you can afford an office. Now it's like, oh, good, you pivoted. So I'm really, really enjoying working from home, for sure. I think it's made me a lot more relaxed, not having to commute, and having the comfort of my own house. And I can have, better lunches and go for a walk. So I have found that has been a really positive change for me personally.
Great. 6 is, if you had to start from the beginning, what advice would you give your former younger self?
If I had the chance, I would tell myself, do not compare yourself to others. We all have different journeys, and, we are all at different levels in our personal lives and careers. It doesn't make anybody better or worse. It's just your own time. So I would say, compete with yourself, not necessarily others.
7, what's a day in your life like?
Well, I get up early-ish, like around 7. I do some little bit of meditation, like very, very short, just to ground myself, be thankful for the day ahead. And then I exercise, whether I go for a walk or the gym or a home workout. And then I start my day, like kind of like 8:45, 9 o'clock. And usually I go to around 6 o'clock, and around 6, 7, depends on what I'm doing. Like some days, they're very, very long, but I try to be very conscientious about my life, because I like to take a break and do other stuff other than work, whether it's, going out. I dance, so going to my dance classes is super important. And, seeing friends and family, that's really, and resting. Sometimes, like, I just want to rest. My brain is tired. I need to, recoup for the next day. That's pretty much my days during the week.
Great. Number 8, lifelong learning is a popular topic these days. How do you stay up to date?
Okay, Thomas, you're cutting off.
Yeah, I just noticed that my internet is unstable. It should be okay. Hello?
Okay, hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
Okay. So we were in number 8, right?
Right.
Yes, hello?
Hi. Yes.
How do I stay up to date?
Yeah.
Well, being an educator, I have to stay up to date all the time. So how I do that, of course, the web YouTube, and there's so much education out there that, courses and seminars. So I attend as much as I can. And also another fabulous way to get to be up to date is I'm really involved in the creative community in Vancouver. I'm the current chapter president for Design Professionals of Canada. And, being involved at that level with the creative community, it's almost like, because I talk to designers from all across the province and the country on a regular basis. I know what's going on. We have, I have designer friends around the world, so that is another way to keep up with what people are doing, what's happening, what are the trends, who did a new logo. So it is a constant a constant part of my life. Like I need to know what's going on, particularly not only for my work, but as an educator. I like to be able to have the conversations with the upcoming designers when they ask things. And actually my students are a source of keeping me up to date, because obviously I don't know everything. And with the younger generations, when they share what what they find, what they're doing, it's really helpful, because that really also keeps me focused and quite current, I feel. So yeah.
Great. Number 9, what tools do you use? Are you mostly digital?
Yeah, Adobe Suite. And again, depends on what projects I'm working on. I do a lot of sketching. I like to have my sketchbooks and my pens and my pencils. So I find that, the brain, the way the brain functions happen in a different level when you are working with paper. So I sketch, but then of course I go digital. And when I do space or exhibit design, is fun, because then you're working with different substrates and different textures, and then that gets really tactile. So that's you know that's pretty fun. So it depends on the project, but definitely I always start my creative process with sketches, for sure.
Great. Halfway. Number 10, how do you deal with work-life balance?
Well, as I was saying, I'm pretty strict, especially now with working from home, to log off at a certain time, 6, 7, 5, depends on how busy I am. But I actually turn the computer off and put all the stuff away, because for me, it's incredibly important to have that brain reset, and to do other stuff that I enjoy, like exercising and dancing, which is my thing, and spending time with friends and family. So weekends, again, I try to. I'm usually pretty. I'm usually pretty good at that. I disconnect. When I'm away, the same. Because otherwise, for a while, especially at the beginning of the pandemic, it was, while I'm here, I can just answer that email, or I can keep working until midnight, and I was experiencing burned out, and it's not worth it, because I find that when I'm fresh and rested, my work is better, and I'm just a better better person overall, not a tired one. So yeah, I really, really make sure that I turn off and I disconnect, so I can do other stuff.
Great. Number 11, if you weren't doing what you do now, what would you be doing?
That's probably one of the hardest question here, because I don't really know. As I said, I've been doing what I do forever, and that's pretty much part of my personality, I guess, my life. But maybe if I have to, I would be traveling. Like I would be on a plane somewhere, like on an trip all the time.
Great. Number 12, what would you not like to do in terms of career?
Like something that is like no way in hell I would ever do.
Yeah, what
Uh,
job? Yeah.
yeah, both my parents were scientists, so nothing to do with science. It's like, no, I really admire people that do that, but never for me. Medicine or chemistry is like, oh God, no, 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 no. That's
13.
something that I would never want to do.
13 is what's your favorite word, quote, or sentence?
Well, one of my favorite quotes, and this is, I have lots, but one that I recently really identify with is, you have to get uncomfortable to be comfortable. And that is for anything, whether it's career or, personal, or, diet, workouts, travel, really for anything. Because to get to the level of comfort that I want, I have found that I've had to go through a lot of very uncomfortable places in life and situations, but then you go through that and then you get to that level of comfort that was desired. So I think that's I don't remember where I heard that quote, but it really resonated with me. And sometimes you have to get uncomfortable. You have to work that long day, or you have to have that uncomfortable conversation and so on, in order to be able to get to that comfortable level in whatever it is that I'm doing.
Great. How about a least favorite word, quote, or sentence?
My least favorite one, again, this is recent in the last few months, is the just be positive. It's like, oh my God, just be positive kind of goes, in my view, it kind of minimizes things, because sometimes, again, and that goes back to the previous one, sometimes we have to go through the uncomfort of life or situations that, to say, oh, just be positive is not helpful. It kind of also almost minimizes that uncomfortable feeling. So yeah, that's my least favorite, like today, like just be positive. Oh, maybe just get through the uncomfortable place, and it's okay not to always be positive.
Great. 15, if you had to pick one word to describe yourself, what word would you choose?
I guess I would choose curious.
What keeps you up at night?
Well, lately it's the state of the world. Everything seems to be pretty insane. So I try not to watch the news, but sometimes that's what keeps me up at night lately. Like, where are we heading? What's going to happen here? Don't know. A lot of unknowns right now.
Final stretch here, number 17. What's a dream you're chasing?
Well, this time in my life, a dream. I have a couple of dreams. One is to, get to do a lot of experiential design, and work with people from all over the world. And my second dream is to, plan for the next stage of my life that, is coming faster than I want to think. Probably in the next 10 years. Who knows if I'm going to still be working the way I'm working now. So it's just imagining that, like, how am I going to spend, all the age, and it's time to kind of start thinking about it and building that dream life. And even though it's not like super close, I do think about it because a lot of my friends are retiring, and it's become very palpable that it's like, oh my God, this is going to happen. So how am I going to have that? What do I want to build for that stage of life? So that's it too.
Great 18. What inspires you?
What inspires me? I think really everything around me inspires me. Sometimes if I go for a walk on the beach and I see something or someone or somebody's wearing something, or hear a conversation, or, obviously when I travel and the stuff that I read. So I draw inspiration really from life. I guess life inspires me.
Any advice you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think the advice I would like to share is, again, do not compare yourself with others. Um, you know, every day be a little better than the day before, and that should get you wherever it is that you want to go in whatever situation is that you're dealing with.
Great. And number 20, how can our listeners follow you? What should we look at?
The best way to follow me is on LinkedIn, Carolina Becerra. That's where I post, and you see what I'm doing, what events I'm participating or planning, work that I do. I've been thinking maybe I should go on Instagram or something like that. And it's just like, oh my God, I don't know. But LinkedIn, that's the best way to follow me and to contact me if there's any questions.
Great. Well, thanks so much for joining today. Connecting through Descan, formerly the GTC, has been really exciting for me, and it's so cool to see you in that leadership position there, and to hear about your everyday life. I mean, that's what this is about. So really great to have you.
Thank you so much, Thomas. It was, they're great questions.
Thanks.